You're running around with mouth, worry about the wrong thing. Now you hungry.
Now you hungry. All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah, name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. Pick it up at John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. They are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you. That I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? John chapter 18, verse 32. Shalom, shalom. John 18:32. That the saying Yahushua might be fulfilled, which he spake, signifying what death he should die. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Yahushua and said unto him, are you the Malik of the Yahudim? Yahushua answered him, say you this thing of yourself, or did others tell it you of me? Pilate answered him, I, Yahudim, your own nation, and the chief priests have delivered you unto me. What have you done? Yahushua answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Yahudim. But now is my kingdom not from hence. Pilate therefore said unto him, are you a Malik? Yahushua answered, you say that I am a Malik. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth hears my voice. So let's come over here to Isaiah 52:7. After Isaiah 52:7, 1 Samuel chapter 11.
Are you worried about?
Matter of fact, didn't make it verse 1. You've been missing in action. More than people that had to held hostage in that truck. Oh, you was here, but you wasn't there. Say, awake, awake. Come here, little Mike. What's up with you, man? You all right? Legs look a little ashy, man. You put no lotion on? No, you need to remember that, man. You look a little dusty. You conducted yourself like a young man should this week. Did you behave? Why not? I don't even want to know. Just go do what you say. Shalom, baby. How y'all doing? Awake, awake. Put on your strength, O Zion. Put on your beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, Kadar city. For henceforth shall no more come to you the uncircumcised and the unclean. So before we proceed, because we talked about this, what that was Wednesday, I believe. We're gonna look at it again. Come over here to Ezekiel 44. From Ezekiel 44 to Jeremiah chapter 4. Jeremiah chapter 4 to Deuteronomy chapter 10. From Deuteronomy chapter 10 to Colossians chapter 2. I will rerun those all the way back down momentarily. But Ezekiel 44.
Probably was in the bed.
In the bed. Verse 9, Ezekiel 44 and 9. What's up, Mordecai? What you looking for? What? Well, you know how to talk. Well, chew your food first. Your daddy over there. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, no stranger, uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary of any stranger that is among the sons of Yasharal. Now let's take a look at something. First, let's look at sanctuary. Y'all know the word for sanctuary, don't you? Michael, you know the word for sanctuary? Why you don't know that word? I ain't never told you. That's an acceptable answer. The word is mikdash. You got Meme, you got Kuf, you got Dalet, you got Shan, and you can proceed. Now that of course, that's the holy place. That's the sacred place. So nobody can enter into the sacred place of Elohim that is uncircumcised in the heart or in the flesh. Focal point on the heart. You got Meme, Kuf, Dalet, and Shan. So Joe, what's up, man? You good? You all right? Mike always in trouble. That's the status of his life. Oh, Malik, you got a haircut too, huh, boy? They done cut off your old man fro.
I said, mighty light that prepare you to the entrance.
Mighty light prepare you to the entrance. Shalom, man. I want y'all to take a look at something in Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 1 real quick, like. Eight and 1. Now the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such a high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of majesty in the heavens, a minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle which the Lord pitched and not man. Now, when we're dealing with Ezekiel 44, and you can come back to Ezekiel 44, and because you're dealing with a sanctuary that is made by Elohim, man has not put his hand to any lever, any stone, and built that place. So you cannot enter in. See, remember, right? You recall what we ended with read last night. Do you know? Or was you in that car in socks? I know you did.
At the last.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't peek? Y'all remember what we concluded with? Who remembers the point that was concluded with that was going to lead into today? No, number 23 ain't what we concluded with.
I don't remember what you concluded with. The verse, but I remember talking about dying to death of the righteous.
No. We ain't conclude with that. The last thing we read was in the epistle of the Philippians. Somebody go and read Philippians 3 and 20 out loud, and that will be sufficient for everyone. Philippians 3 and 20. We concluded with Philippians 3 and 20 and Luke 24. 24 and 36 to be specific. And we also did Corinthians chapter 15 and about verse 50. Though Numbers 23 was the root of the matter, that ain't what we ended with.
Our conversation is in heaven, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Master Yahushua Mashiach.
Yeah, keep on rolling with it.
Who shall change our vile body.
That's what the point was. He'll do what?
Shall change our vile body.
And the what?
That it might be fashioned like unto his glorious body.
So that's the point of you cannot enter into that sacred place unless your heart's been circumcised, which means you would have to be changed. See, if you're not changed, you can't enter in. That's not going to happen. See, you can be a part. See, in the kingdom before Yahushua or the kingdom of that world, anyone could enter into that kingdom, irregardless of their service to Elohim. Irregardless. You had a right to sit in the kingdom of Yasharal just by the byproduct of being born, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And you could be there. You didn't have to do nothing in order to be there. Now let's take a pause. Let's take a look at something right in Numbers chapter 14, because it's going to be the same type of deal. Hello, Malia. How are you? Who are you looking for? Mm. What occurred in Numbers the 13th chapter without looking at it? Do you know, Michael? Monte, you know what happened in Numbers 13? What about you, Shayla? You know what happened in Numbers 13? Huh? I can't hear you. That is correct. The spies did go in there. What happened when they went? But what happened when they went? What did the spies do? No, they didn't destroy the land. The spies did something very, very specific. And it wasn't good either. Oh, no, they didn't idolize. You know what the spies did when they went in there? No, that's Rahab. That's after that. Shalom, man. What about you know what the spies did? You trying to read it? You got on old lady socks? That nigga got on old lady dress. I didn't even know you own. You too young to own pair. Say what? These socks. Call them whatever you want to call it. Well, I gotta ask something. Oh, he could be a little joke. That's correct, Tavon. Did you know what happened in Numbers 13? Numbers 13, when they went to go spy out the land, and what did those spies do? No, they gave an evil report on the land. That ain't what you said. But they did, but an evil report. That's the part you left out. That's the part you left out. I gave you that part. You know what I'm saying? I ain't take away what you had correct. But remember, what did they say? They say they were what in the land? Giants. And they couldn't overtake them. And who was the only ones that said screw them giants? And Caleb. Now, this is what got those people denied from entering in. And what got them denied from entering in? Because if they were entering into the land, they were about to enter into a kingdom. They were about to enter into a kingdom. So when you look at entering into a kingdom, they were denied from entering into that kingdom because they were not uncircumcised in heart. Well, I mean, they were not circumcised in heart, excuse me. Come over here to Numbers chapter 14, verse 27. Hey. Matter of fact, make that, come over here. It say, and all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the sons of Yasharal murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, would that Elohim, that we would have died in the land of Mizraim, or that were Elohim, we had died in this wilderness. Wherefore have Yahuwah brought unto us this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and sons should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return into Mizraim? And they said one to another, let us make a captain, let us return into Mizraim. Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the sons of Yasharal. Yahushua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Yephnu, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the sons of Yasharal, saying, the land which we passed to search it is an exceeding good land. If Yahuwah delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, and a land which flow with milk and honey. Only rebel not you against Yahuwah, neither fear you the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and Yahuwah is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. and the esteem of Yahuwah appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the sons of Yasharal. The key point you got to look at is once these men told them that you could take this kingdom, they wanted to kill him. Or they wanted to kill him. These the same people who always keep telling you the white man is your issue. You niggas gave a bad report on the land, and a nigga told you, bro, if it be Yahuwah delight, boy, we could take this land. These people bread for us. Just don't rebel. Man, let's kill them niggas and go back to what we were used to. See, that's the key point of looking at his kingdom is not of this world. But of Elohim. See, what they were going to take was going to be a kingdom that was encompassed by Elohim. Where Elohim was going to be your leader, your guide, your reprover, your redeemer, and your protection. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't talk about before, right? There's no other race of women on the earth that scream that they're not protected. And the reason why they don't scream it is because they follow the men of their people. And that doesn't mean that's 100% accurate, but they follow. So they don't have to scream that. What we were just talking about before they came in here, right? This here, right? Because we were talking about that a little bit last night. You got other races of women, they get married early. See, most of y'all got married early. And then you go ahead and you build with that man in your youth. Our women, for the most part, build their careers and stuff and then want to double back and get married later. And then there's no husband because nobody wants you. Nobody cares about your accomplishments. Nobody cares about your money. Nobody cares about your degrees. You're going to be highly disagreeable. You're not going to follow, and you're going to refuse to submit. And you're going to have a standard that says that I'm better than you, and I don't have to deal with you. Well, you know what comes in on the spiritual side, just with most men? You feel like, let me do everything I want to do in my life, and then I'll come back and serve Yahuwah. See, I need to do this and do that and do this and do that, and I'll serve God. I've heard people say this, male and female. Let me do all this stuff first, then I'll come back and serve God. And guess what happens when you turn around? He's not there. Because when you come back with all this stuff that you done accomplished and thinking that God gave it to you, and now it's time for you to get with God, God don't want you. Because you're going to be useless for him, because you're going to be proud, you're going to be arrogant, you're going to refuse to submit, and you're not going to be teachable, and he's just going to say, I'm going to pass. See, it's the same type of mentality. That's why I tell you, if you want to see how the sons of Yasharal behave, all you have to do is watch a woman. Because the way a woman behaves with a man is the way that Yasharal behave with Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? Because you are a woman, because you his woman. See, that's a hard pill to swallow. That dude, when he say, let me go bury my daddy, what he told him? Let the dead bury the dead. And that's Luke chapter 9, about verse 62, if you want to see for yourself. Why do you think he told him that, Monica? Why she looking? And I just want to hear y'all perspective. I'm not looking for a right or wrong answer. What about you, Stanley? Why do you think he told him that from your perspective? I'll read it out loud for everybody. Let me just take and roll around. Right. This is what it say, right? It's in verse 6:59. He said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go bury my father. Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury their dead, but go you and preach the kingdom of Elohim. Another also said, Lord, I will follow you, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at my home and at my house. Yahushua said unto him, no man having and putting his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of Elohim. Why do you think he said that to them, Shane? That's two different people he talked to. I didn't add the latter, but I gave the former. Why do you think he told them that? Why do you think he told them that, LeBron?
He got other work for them to do.
Other work for them to do? Darius, why do you think he told him that?
Handle their business.
Let them handle their business. Michael Glover. Why you think he told him that? Mm-hmm. D, why you think he told him that? Choose between life and death. And ain't nothing wrong with it, but you know also the key component, what was in that? You know what I'm saying? That's the key component. Let me go bury my daddy. Let me say goodbye to the people at my house. Go, nigga. Go do what I do. And that's the point of what I'm referring to. We like to let me go do this, do this, do this, do this. And then I'll come back and serve you. Indeed, Tavon, I seek you while he can be found. But that's the point what I'm talking about when you look at all, or just women in general now, but more specifically all women, how they see, let me go do all this stuff over here and accomplish it. Because you know what ends up happening? You think the world is going to stand still and wait for you to achieve the things that you want to achieve. And then what's the stuff that you need is still going to be there. That's not how life works. Because there's going to be a trade-off. You understand? There's going to be a trade-off. You can't get, I've been telling y'all that for years. There's no such thing as having it all. You're not going to have it all. You're going to have some things and you're going to lose other things. When you seek to have it all, you're going to end up with nothing. You know what I'm saying? See, that's no different with serving Elohim. You're not going to get it all serving you. You're going to get an eternal kingdom. You'll get eternal life, but you might lose out on riches. You might lose out on the things that you call having fun and enjoying life. There's a trade-off there. Now, you can have all that stuff over there that you enjoy, but you're not going to get Yahuwah over here either, because you can't get to have both. Now, see, that's a mentality that's been given to most women. You can have it all. Men already know you can't have it all because men have to live a life of sacrifice to begin with. So men already know I can do this over here, but I ain't going to get to have this over here. I got to trade that off. What I'm working towards is worth it losing out on this. I was told you can have everything you want. And when you don't get everything you want, you're disappointed. Why do I say this? Because when people come to Elohim, what the churches and people in the world get people to think that you can serve God and have everything you want. You can have everything you want, but it's a trade-off. Because truth be told, see, Paul, Psalms 37. I know a lot of them, they like to use this Psalms 37, and then that make people feel that way. Psalms 37:3. And again, right, if you hear what I'm talking about and you just totally concerned with a natural woman, you're missing the point. Because it's just not that women who think that way. Women might think like that in their life towards a man. But men think that way in their life towards their goals. And they treat the Lord like a woman treats that man. You understand? I can just give you that natural example of a woman because you can see that and then turn around and see that most men behave that way towards Yah, towards God. And thinking, but get mad at the woman for doing that. You can't get mad at her for doing that because you're doing the same thing. Because I'll get back in this word and do this. That's not how that works. That man is not going to be waiting for you. Because I'm here to tell you, most women are disappointed because they want men that don't want them. You know what I'm talking about? See, men end up, what did we talk about a few weeks back? Yahuwah said he stretched out his arms all the day to a gainsaying and rebellious people who provoked him continually to his face. See, when the man who wanted you to, stretching out his hands to tell you to return, you refused. And you know why you refused? Because you thought it was better. He tell you that in Hosea. You thought it was better to fool with this man over here. And when you decided that those material benefits, this is Hosea chapter 2 that I'm referencing, so you can read it for yourself. When you saw that those material benefits were not necessary to you anymore, that's why he said, oh, I will return from my first husband because it was better for me then. Now you want to go back, and then you turn around and you find out Elohim is not there. He don't want you anymore. Because what did he tell you in Chronicles? If you forsake him, he'll do what? He will forsake you. That man don't operate like that. But we live in a world where we think people gonna just be there because you're you. And you have this such high value and worth and look at yourself, that you're going to price yourself out of everlasting salvation. Psalms 37:3. Say, trust in Yahuwah and do good, and you shall dwell in the land. And truly you shall be fed. Delight yourself also in Yahuwah, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way unto Yahuwah, trust in him, and he shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth your righteousness as the light, and your judgment as the noonday. Rest in Yahuwah and wait patiently for him. Fret not yourself because of him who prosper in his way, because of the man who bring wicked devices to pass. See, this is where our people get caught up at. Because you see these wicked people and they getting all this material stuff and you want it too. And then you say that the desires of your heart is all this material stuff, and your desires are not really the things that you ought to desire, because you don't desire what's from heaven. See, you want the cars that the sinners got, and you want the houses that the sinners got, and you want to go on the trips that the sinners go on, and you can do all of that. But the likelihood of you being close to Elohim is going to be the same as it is at them sinners who do it. You're going to be far away from him. Because you can't serve Yahuwah and serve what he told you. You can't do what? You can't serve Elohim and. That's why he told you the love you. He said, if you got the love of the world in you, the love of Abba is not in you. See, again, that's why his kingdom is not of this world, because there's a trade-off. You're going to have to make a choice. That doesn't mean that you might not be able to buy nice houses. That don't even mean that you might not even be able to buy the vehicle that you desire. That don't even mean that you might not be able to take a trip that you would want to take. But if you think that you're going to live the life of regular people and serve Elohim at the same time, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because you're going to lose out on one or the other. Because you're not going to get both. Now, there's a difference, because some people, I see people who serve God and they do that. Are they really serving him? Because if remember right, he said, where I am, where would his servant be?
Oh, yeah.
Right there with him. So then you have to look at the directions that we go. Is Elohim in those directions that we going in? Or are you forging your own path and putting his name on it? These are just things to consider. That's not saying that anyone is doing anything of the sort. It's for us to consider. Because we have to understand his kingdom is not of this world. So if his kingdom is not of this world, then you can't be concerned with the things of scribes and Pharisees in John 8. He said he was from where? From above. And they were from where? Beneath. What he said about his apostles, he said, I chose them out of the world. So he said, the world hear them not. That's what it comes down to. When you come out of the world and come into the kingdom of the world to come, you are going to be strange to people who are part of a different kingdom, because you're under a different level of rulership. So I'm going to read this Psalm 37:8 though. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Fret not yourself in any wise to do evil. What pistol letter that sound like to you? Don't that sound like be angry and sin not? For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon Yahuwah, they shall inherit the earth. See, that's what you have to remember. If you have a hope and expectation of you not going to get anything. Abigail, come in here and sit down. What was we at? Psalm 37. Oh, I mentioned a few things. I got Ezekiel 44. I know I need Deuteronomy chapter 10. I need Colossians, Deuteronomy, Jeremiah 4. So you can come to Deuteronomy 10 and then Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. To the deep freezer. Yeah. And now, Yasharal, what do Yahuwah your Elohim require of you? If you don't fear God, you don't have reverence for him, you don't have honor for him, You don't have respect for him. It does not exist. See, the world has went downhill because of it. And you know what that's representative of? Because women do not reverence their men anymore. You don't hold him in high regard anymore. You regard him as your equal or your inferior. So consequently, you're also going to regard Elohim as your equal or your inferior. Because he told you to love your husband, to reverence your husband as what? As unto the Lord. So if you see your husband in that regard, and when I say husband, meaning the men of your people, if you see the men of your people in that regard, how are you not going to see the man whose image they're made in that regard? You're going to treat them in the same fashion, that he is your equal or your inferior. There's no way around that. You know what I'm saying? We can't justify and spend no words to get around that. You don't view your men in that regard, so you don't view him in that regard. And that's why you have the conflict in between genders amongst our people. I'm not concerned with other people. That's none of my business. But our people had that problem because of the common denominator. None of us fear Elohim. Because if you feared Elohim, you would have reverence for the men of your people. And when I say the men of your people, not just your man, for your daddy, for your uncles, for your granddaddy, you would have that level of respect for them being men, because you have that level of respect for your Father that's in heaven. And because the men don't have that level of respect for men, because their mama was a two-dollar hoe, or she was a masculine woman, because she had abhorrence for men, now he has one. So he can't fear his Father in heaven either. That's a detriment to all mankind. That's a detriment to all mankind. And why is it a detriment? Because you're not going to get your soul saved. Because you're not going to be able to keep that what he requires for Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways and to love him and to serve Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. And to keep the commandments of Yahuwah and his statutes which I command you this day for your good. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is Yahuwah your Elohim, the earth also with all that is therein. Therein is. Only Yahuwah had a delight in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. See, that's the problem. See, when you get your heart circumcised, when you get your heart circumcised, the stubbornness goes away. See, let's look at something real quick, like. Oh, I'm in the wrong. I picked the wrong chapter because I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at the word for circumcised. And it's mul. Mim, u, and lamad. Of course, it means to be circumcised. Mim, u, and lamad. That's what you got for circumcised. Now, stiff neck is orah. And of course, that is to be obstinate. How many of y'all feel like you obstinate, or you've been told that you've been obstinate? Y'all looking at it, I don't know what obstinate means. You don't know what obstinate means? Obstinate means that you're stubborn, that you're hard-headed, and that you don't listen. Borderline rebellious. Mean Ulamad, right?
Join to the leader.
Blood to join you to the leader. Blood of the shepherd going to establish. Circumcision is going to it. Let me ask you this here, Monte. Genesis 17 is when Abraham was given the charge to circumcise. What was the purpose of the circumcision? What do Yahuwah say the circumcision represents?
Oh.
17. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So circumcision of the heart the example of the covenant. He took the covenant from the foreskin of the penis and put it on your heart. Because he said in Genesis 17, right? What he just said, he said, if you don't circumcise your sons, then they don't have what? No part with it. So if you haven't circumcised your heart, you don't have any part with Elohim, and therefore you can't enter in. So let's take a look at Jeremiah chapter 4. Who's doing all that crap? Little bug. We just want Jeremiah 4 and 4. I could have paraphrased it, but we just gonna look at it. Circumcise yourselves to Yahuwah and take away the foreskins of your heart. But we're gonna look at foreskins though. Who got sent on a mission to bring back some foreskins? David did. Who knows who sent David to do it? Saul's son. Why did he send David to do it?
He was trying to get Saul.
He was trying to get David killed. And what was those foreskins supposed to be for? For his daughter. Tokens of marriage. That's right. And I remember dude talking about they gotta be gay. He told him to bring back. You gotta kill him. He ain't gonna be alive. He figured, boy, I think he told him, bring me back 200 foreskins. Saul had it in his mind. Ain't no way that boy gonna get out of this. 200 foreskins? He got to die. That boy came back with the bag full of foreskins. That boy ain't know what to do. Ain't no pause. Now ain't no pause. Ain't no pause.
They did do it. I seen it.
They were dead bodies. Ain't even about whether they was alive or dead, because he was gonna be dead. That man was trying to get him killed. That boy showed you who was with him when he came back with him. You wanted foreskins you got.
What you gonna do with it?
What you gonna do with him? Let me get my old lady then. And I'm still alive. Now I want y'all to look at foreskins. The word is for Allah, to be uncircumcised. He say Saul, that's what it was. Saul say, bring me back 100. David bought 200. What? Doubled up. You got Ayin. You got Raj. You got Lamad. And you got Hay. This is what it is to be uncircumcised. Or La. Ayin, Raj, Lamad, and Hay.
I got this up here. You kill 200 niggas, and you
that junk got you and to bring you back foreskins because you want him to get killed. Because you ain't had a heart to do it yourself. Yeah, the Indians used to like now, of course y'all know because we done said this many at Thanksgiving time. You know, them dudes was coming through cutting off them women's titties and using them as tobacco pouch.
They used to put it with the smoke in there?
Yeah, they used to cut the Indian women's titties off and use them for tobacco pouches. You know what I'm saying? They used to use their skulls for soccer balls. People are vicious and unrepentant. Ayin, Wash, Lamad, and Hay. So now we sit back and look at it. If you uncircumcised, you have not experienced. Behold, you lack experience of the teachings of Elohim. See, that's the difference with being circumcised and uncircumcised. See, circumcised and uncircumcised is representative of not being born again and being born again. And where do you see that at? You see that in Yahushua son of Nun, chapter 5, when they recircumcised them people. And they had to circumcise them the second time. And of course, you know, they did that in Gilgal. Gilgal means to roll, and you got circumcised the second time when Mashiach resurrected from the dead, when they rolled the stone away from the grave, and he come out the grave, because now he's conquered death, as we talked about last night. And when he's done that, he's put off the body of sin. And if he's put off the body of sin, then you can put it off. And that's why you got to be circumcised in the heart, because you got to put off the foreskin or put off the fact that you do not know or have not experienced the teachings of Elohim. Whether you want to say chief or the highest don't make no difference. It's Elohim. You don't know. What did Paul tell you in 1 Corinthians 15? He say, evil communications corrupt good manners. Some of you have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame. We are the only people on the earth who do not like to be put to shame. You know what I'm saying? We make excuses for it. We degrade and downgrade other people who do it. And why is that done? Because our people is the only people who are not ruled by men. We're ruled by women. So that means you have an emotional slant to everything. Regardless of how you might feel about white men rule amongst their people. You know what I'm saying? That's why that was that situation about when the lady was talking about that more black women deal with white men because of masculinity. They're raised by men. Most white men are not raised by a woman. So therefore, they don't have feminine tendencies. They don't have emotional tendencies. Most Indians, when I was listening to bruh said that black men are the most liberal men on the earth when it comes to body size and type. Because how a lot of our women are out of shape, men of other races will not accept it. They're going to be like, absolutely not. You need to lose some weight. And the difference is those women don't get offended. And nigga look like, nigga, what? Nigga, what? But what do people come when they deal with the word? What has the church done? Because it's influenced by women. You can come as you are. God will love you no matter what you do and how you are. I seen a woman get upset because the pastor would not Christian the baby, and the baby was born out of wedlock, and they were trying to put pressure on the man to do it. When he said, I'm not going to do that. Because they wanted him to stamp that, because it doesn't matter what I do. You should love me no matter how I am or what I do.
All right.
That's not tangible or realistic in any avenue of life.
Or your father.
Isaiah, find your father. What y'all standing in line for the toilet? And I just want you to think about that to see that parallel. Because when you come and dealing with most of these churches, most of those pastors are feminine and weak. Not all of them. Because there's a lot of women in there. And what are the women doing? They giving the bribes or the presents. So they judging for reward and they prophesying for hire. So they gonna say whatever them people want to hear. See, when you're a man, you don't care. You're not gonna tell people what they want to hear. It's one of the reasons why they hated the Lord. That's why he said, if I wouldn't have no cover for it, you ain't got nowhere you can hide. You ain't got no cover. I pulled your skirt up, like he said in Nahum. And now your nakedness has appeared. We go to Jeremiah 4. Swing on around here to Colossians chapter 2. Little Joe. You can pick it up at 2 and 8. Colossians 2 and 8. Look how you look. Boy, you full of crap, boy. You know you're not right. You know you're not right. You know it. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit and the tradition of men and after the rudiments of the world and not after Mashiach. Let's look at rudiments. Well, Joe, you got some rudiments? I'm trying to see what's going on around that. Ain't nothing around there for you, boy.
You said you want to go over there.
The word rudiments, right, is stoi kahon. Rudiments means the first thing from which the others belong to some series of composites, whole take their rise, an element of first principle. Basically, heavenly bodies. Basically, what he told you in Jeremiah, don't be dismayed at the signs of heaven. So when you're looking at rudiments, it's also Elucid's geometry. Are any of y'all familiar with Elucid? You familiar with him? Y'all went to college. Y'all don't know about Elucid. They ain't teach you that. You took humanities, didn't you? Did they teach you about it? That's acceptable. You've been out of school a long time. What about you? You the educator. I know you took humanities class. Do you remember Elucid? He was a Greek philosopher. I forgot I did go to nigga school. I forgot. My apologies. Y'all went to nigga school. Oh, what school you went to? You right. I apologize. That's right. They say y'all learned about that all through high school. Let me tell you about some black people. I can't be upset with you about that. Well, who they taught you about in your humanities class that's black that you remember? I give you that because you didn't care. I ain't mad at you because most people don't care about humanities class. I'm just here. I ain't mad at you. That's the only class I went to. So all the other ones I'd be high. I went to humanities class. So you know what I'm talking about? I enjoy humanities class because humanities deal with the myths and cultures of other people. So I was interested in the myths and cultures of other people. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at that like this here, right? Go ahead, man, Tavon. When you look at that, Lucid is along the lines of Aristotle, but in the mathematical realm. We can give you some more information. That's what mostly I remember about that. Yeah, Plato was a punk. Aristotle was too.
They're like LeBoy too.
That's my main thing. I was trying to stay away from that. It was in the pederasty. I just didn't want to travel down that road because I might have went off on a tangent. So I was trying to stay away from that. But yeah, they was in the pederasty.
That's their time, bro.
Study time. Here you go, a little brief one on here. He was of Alexandria, Elucid of Megara, a Greek mathematician, often referred to as the founder and father of geometry. He was around the time of Ptolemy first. Y'all, you know who Ptolemy is, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my.
That's relevant.
It's very, very relevant. Ptolemy is the son of Cleopatra and Alexander the Great. Well, the first Ptolemy, because there's more than one. And they ruled during Egypt around the time of the Greek Empire when Alexander the Great took it over. I mean, Alexander the Great's mentioned in the text. So he the little he go.
That don't mean nothing. Because when he died, it was like he got okay. Niggas, yeah, broke everything else up.
I thought I got killed. You're crazy.
They said they all was crazy, but them niggas were crazy. Because at the end of the day, them niggas were doing stuff they ain't had no business.
And they ain't had a law.
They ain't had a law. They ain't had no law.
Drive any man crazy.
Drive any man crazy. Some of y'all was crazy before you found the law. The worst part was you didn't know you were crazy. Know that brother be talking about this here all the time? I agree with him, male or female, boy. Boy, some of y'all niggas need it. Whether you even realize you need it or not. You know what I'm talking about? Got unresolved issues. It's better to go ahead and get that stuff dealt with so you can be a functional adult. Because one of the biggest misnomers that black people get told, especially men, is you can figure it out on your own. Well, that's a lie from me. Because if you can figure it out on your own, then your issues will be gone. If your issues ain't gone, that means you can't figure it out on your own.
Here you go. Come sit down. You want to go up? Got a seat right there.
Seriously though, that's not serious though. Especially hearing them grown women who be talking to that nigga on that phone, these women in their 30s and 40s. But I heard a 63-year-old woman say, I've been divorced for 20 years. You think it's still hope for me to get married? Baby, go get in the casket. It's over with for you.
Stop. Y'all finna go to bed.
Come on, man.
Talking about I want me a man. Maybe that coochie don't even work. Plumbing all messed up. It's over.
Like an old new wife died.
Man, look here, man. At 63 years old, raise your grandchildren.
That should be hopeful.
Yeah.
At 63 years old, the last thing you need to be worried about is getting you another man. Shoot, at 63 years, no, baby. It's a wrap. It's over just because he don't want to die alone. Yes, she did, because if she didn't want to, she stayed with her husband. He wasn't doing nothing to her.
Better mean that.
He wasn't. The nigga asked her. I left because I wanted to leave. He wasn't making enough money for me. I heard a grown woman say, I left my man because all he asked me to do was serve him food and give him sex on demand. She said, I had to go. That nigga say, nigga, what? Resent him because he wasn't making enough money. What kind of request is that? That's basic as all outdoors. Just feed me first and give me some yams? And that's a problem? And it's black people. Nick and Sarah gonna suck the soul.
I watched a documentary on that too, about how the slave master, black chicks and white women do all they could.
All they could.
Around the clock.
Period, because they gonna keep their man.
But he just couldn't stay out.
He could stay, because I ain't never seen nobody built like that. They can say, you seen Jacquisha in the back? I ain't never seen no butt like that.
They give him that sexual service because they know he keep that in the back though.
But that's also a power thing because I have the ability and power to do something.
Yeah, no. I'm down to go for you still.
They don't care. You better go with them slave hoes.
That was the documentary though. Like, shit.
I already know. I'm talking about the mentality of the average woman of our people right now. She'll tell, she won't give you no yams and look at you. You better not go around there to the slave quarters. Nigga, what? Yeah, she feel like you supposed to lay in the bed with the blue balls. A lot of women feel that way. I don't want to get none, you ain't get none. And you better not go get none from nowhere else. And then tell you that you a piece of crap because you went because you ain't gave me in 6 months. I only seen you naked twice. And I'm supposed to be satisfied with the 2 times you gave it to me. Because you settled for me. Man, put this hoe out on the corner and give her that stick with the bandana on the back. Straight up now. That junk ain't right. That junk ain't right. Come on back over here to Isaiah 52, man. Oh, I ain't even finished what I was in Philippians. My bad. Yeah, Colossians. My bad. The page changed. 2 and 8. We're at 2 and 9. He say, for him dwell all the fullness of the Elohim head bodily. And you are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power. In whom you are circumcised with the circumcision made with our hands, and putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Mashiach, buried with him in immersion, wherein also you are risen with him through faith of the operation of uncircumcision of your flesh. Ye have quickened together with him and have forgiven all your trespasses. So what does this mean? When you're looking at being circumcised and how his kingdom is not of this world, that goes back to what we were talking about flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom, because you have to have this is not a circumcision that anyone can come with a knife and cut the foreskin of your penis off. You know what I'm talking about? This is the circumcision that comes where he severs the body of sin off of you. We go back to what we read in Psalms 37, commit your way unto Yahuwah and trust in Yahuwah and wait on Yahuwah and he will bring it. John 3 on general principles. John 3 and 1 on general principles. Not GP issue. Man. How many of y'all used to be at the house dancing to that? You look like you used to be. That's just how you had that look on your face. You used to look like you would be in the house on Sunday morning. Boy, that look on your face gave you away. You were doing that. You ain't safe. Boy, you killed old girl with that dress on, boy. Boy, that nigga killed old girl there. And buddy, talking about you work out. Nigga, you lying. Cuz look like he ate all the hamburgers. Hey, boy, you killed both of them niggas. Told that nigga, look, boy, that nigga head look like some type of grass. I can't remember what you said. Boy, you were killing them niggas. Boy, that nigga be killing them niggas, man. That nigga be ranking on the low, don't want to tell nobody. That's what he like to do. He don't want to tell nobody. Like your mama used to have you in there cleaning the house on Saturday playing that music. You just be stomping while you were mopping the floor. Who else was in here doing that? You were doing. I know you were doing it. I know you. I know your grandma cut that junk on. You better stomp that doggone. You better stomp it with that back. You looking like you can't relate. Michael, like my people didn't serve the Lord. I ain't have to do that. You had to do that, Kalisha? He's like, yeah, your mama ain't even served the Lord. She just cut it on, make herself feel full-fledged. I hate God and everything about him. You cut that gospel music on Saturday and you clean my house. That's got to be the ugliest one. Hate the Lord. But let's act like we serve God in here. See, Michael, you was in a good space. See, my mama ain't do that neither. It wasn't no fake, we love the Lord, cutting gospel music on. Bibles open to Psalm 23. Send you to church, but stay in the bed. My mama ain't say nothing about the Lord. That nigga. Oh, but that's here though. My mama ain't talking about no Bible. That's a blessing. Cause see, then you don't get caught up with the lies. You just be like, I don't fool with it. I'm finna go get high. Finna go home with homeboys, get a little bottle or something, little bag. See, you when you dealing with it, you try to lie to yourself and act like you godly and recite verses in your head that your people done lied to you about while you're doing something you ain't got no business. You're like, God forgive me. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you sound like you did that several times. Yeah, you did. Do it again tomorrow.
Bring that gift.
Bring that gift, to the altar. All the nigga do go to the altar call on Sundays once every 3 months crying. Lay hands on me, Pastor. Pastor want to lay hands on you, but not in a good way. John chapter 3 and verse 1. I seen some pastors, he was laying hands on the woman's vagina. Talking about he could get spirits out of them. Yeah, the African preachers go hard.
You can't say it, niggas in America.
I think the niggas in Africa way more gullible than niggas over here. Boy, these niggas one of them pastors, y'all done seen that meme before, had all them women on the beach on all four, butt naked, sticking his face in their butt. Talking about he was healing them.
Yeah, he had to get grabbed the altar shaving.
Oh, I seen that talking about shaving a girl vagina, talking about let me anoint you with some oil in front of people.
Oh yeah,
in the house of the Lord. How a nigga ain't stand up and say Abaloo and slap this nigga? This nigga lying. That nigga say, but that's how them niggas talk. Nigga just say some John, nigga. That John don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? That junk ain't right, boy. John chapter 3, verse 1. Got there, bird. Oh, that little damn. No, I mean that one when he got deep with it. That's one of Bird's signatures.
He's going to a young man. Saw the young man coming up in the ranks.
Coming up in the ranks. I'm like, dang, he been chilling. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yahudim. The same came to Yahushua by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher, come from Elohim, that no man can do these miracles that you do, except Elohim be with him. Yahushua answered and said unto him, truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Elohim. Nicodemus said unto him, how can a man be born when he is old, and he enters into the second time into his mother's womb and be born? What do we read in Ecclesiastes? Everybody in this kingdom got to be born what? Poor. You're going to have to be born humble. See, being born again, you got to put off the body of sins. In order to put off the body of sins, you would have to acknowledge that you were in sin. To acknowledge that you were in sin, which means you would have to humble yourself before Elohim. And again, that's the thing that our people, because I can't just deal, we know all people, but I'm talking about our people do not like to do. That's factual. One of the songs is old. And this is a true story, that most young men need guidance. And what you think women need? If young men need guidance, what would women need? To a certain extent, rules. You know what I'm saying? Because if a woman don't have no rules and she has freedom and she can do whatever she wants, then the world will descend into chaos, which is what Leviticus 19 was telling you about not defiling or profaning or prostituting your daughter. But guess what, though? Yasharal is that woman, and what does she need? Rules. Not the rules for salvation, but rules that you don't get out of pocket and go out here and do whatever it is that you want to do. And then feel good about doing what it is that you want to do. See, young men need the guidance so they can enforce the rules. See, if the young men don't have the guidance, then the rules do nothing for the woman, because the woman is not the enforcer of the rules. The men are. So the man has to, and that's why most men who are quote unquote disciplinarians or the enforcer of rules are not liked. Because most people come from an environment where, like, if you had a supervisor on the job who enforced the rules versus a supervisor who let you do what you want to do, who's the supervisor that most of the employees liked? The one that was free flowing and free going and let you do what you want to do, versus the one who enforced the rules. You looked at him as a tyrant. When you hear a lot of women and they say he's been mentally abusing me, 9 times out of 10 he was telling her about herself, and he had rules and he enforced them rules. That's if you pressed him and asked, what was that nigga saying to mentally abuse you? Most of that junk be he just telling you stuff you don't want to hear. When you hear most of the time a woman say a man is controlling me, 99.9% of the time he had a standard and he said you're going to meet that standard, and you look at it as control because you can't do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. I've been who've been slapped up. I done seen it. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up. I done seen a nigga slap a woman too. In my time, especially as a jit, shoot, there was a beautiful lady in my neighborhood, man, when I was a little boy. Boy, that nigga, man, her eye was right here. No exaggeration.
Me know.
I mean, I'm like 10, 11 years old. Nigga, I'm walking to the mailbox. She had the mailbox. Her eye was literally sometimes in front of everybody in the apartments. Nigga, my homeboy cousin Toki, that nigga literally got shot in the back on school grounds because nigga from our neighborhood who she was going with ain't want to go for no more. That bullet is still in her breast to this day. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I done seen. But a lot of women say a nigga done hit him, nigga ain't hit him. See, this is where you get in the slippery slope, right? Because people say, okay, if you come to me and tell me a nigga hit you, the common thought process in this day and time is I'm just supposed to believe the woman that you hit him, that he hit you. Not that I need to talk. Now remember, what does our law say? If you came up to me, Michael, and said, such and such hit me, what does our law say got to happen? There has to be 2 or 3 witnesses, and you got to say that while he right there. And I'm supposed to go to judge the matter. I got to go holler at him. I can't just go and say, oh, he hit you, and we execute judgment on his head because you said he hit you. That's not how that works. But now, because even if, like I said, right, if you do that, a nigga not saying you lying, but if a nigga say, well, where the brother at? The automatic thing that's going to click in most people's head is you calling me a liar. And they going to get offended. Why you just ain't believe me because I said it? But what if you lied? So what does our law say supposed to happen if you lie on somebody? You get the same thing back on you, especially a woman, and it's going to stick whether it's true or not. And ain't nobody going to look and find out if it's true. You see that going on with this fake situation with Meg Thee Stallion and the A-Star boy. Don't nobody really know what happened. Don't nobody know what happened. You weren't there. And most people just believe the woman because she said it happened. Nobody said, well, what did he say? Nobody looked for the evidence. That's improper judgment. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. He might have shot her. He might have didn't. Who knows? That big hoe might have stumbled in her heels and cut her leg. Who knows? But what I'm talking about is judgment is concerned. You ain't supposed to take nobody's word for nothing. For nothing. You think that's going to happen in the kingdom? You think you're just going to be able to, and when I say in the kingdom, in the reign of Elohim, not necessarily in the literal kingdom. You think you really can just make an accusation about somebody and that's what it's going to be? No, you would have to go. Imagine if people had to literally go stand before Elohim every time they accuse somebody of doing something. I bet it'd be a lot less accusations and talking from a lot of people. Talking about a nigga did this and a nigga did that. You can keep them lies to yourself. You're going to keep that embellishment of the truth to yourself. Because in the reality, for the most part, most women don't get treated that badly. They just don't like the fact that nigga don't let them do what they want to do. Why do I say that? Because most people leave Yahuwah, and when they leave Yahuwah, what they try to say? They try to talk bad about the man, like he just that there in the third. That man ain't did nothing to you. You couldn't do what you wanted to do. Because he had rules. And then, of course, he's got pastors and evangelists and teachers who enforce those rules. And people don't like it. And people don't like it. Out here, nigga, what is on that sandwich? Well, you put, come on.
That's time. Keep the car up there.
That nigga got the sandwich things, man, with peanut butter and jelly on it. That ain't no pita bread, nigga.
Because I said, what, flat bread, thin bread, whatever it's called.
Well, pita bread is not made for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, son. That is definitely made for delicatessen animals.
Delicious. And you got the
Look at this
grains, oats,
look at this nigga. Oats. That's not a peanut butter. That's a disrespect to peanut butter and jelly. You didn't eat you eat a piece of bread, man. You couldn't even spread enough peanut butter on there to call it peanut butter.
Delectable sandwich. You should try it. Like this.
Absolutely not.
Right, change thought.
I ain't gonna change my thought. It's gonna be more bread than anything.
Got a lot of bacon. It's less bread than the regular bread.
I'm gonna move on. John chapter 3 verse 4. He tried to be like that nigga. Get out of here. That's your nigga. Nicodemus said unto him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter in the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahushua answered, truly, truly, I say unto you, except a man be born of the water and of the Ruach, he cannot enter into the Makuf of Elohim. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Ruach is Ruach. Marvel not that I said unto you, you must be born again. Again, that takes us back to Ecclesiastes 4:14, right? Everyone that is born into his kingdom must be made poor. So if you're going to be Yalad or birthed into that kingdom, let's just look at that word Yalad. Excuse me. Lil Dale. That Lil Dale?
No, Yanni.
Oh, y'all just started sounding like me now at this point in your life. That's Yanni.
Yeah.
Well, where's Joy?
Upstairs.
Oh, Joy is upstairs?
Yeah.
How did Joy get upstairs?
Not me.
No.
I'm right here.
Oh, that's what I said. How did Joy get up there?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
You got Yod, Lamad, and Dalet. This is to beget or to be born. See, that's the other aspect of his kingdom not being of this world, because everyone that is his kingdom must be born of Elohim. If you are not born of Elohim, then you are not of his kingdom. Remember, kingdom is Malkuf, that is to reign. Everyone who will enter in his dominion must be made poor. That is a royal power, a royal to it to the royal law, because that's the law. The law of Elohim is the law of kings, because he is the king of kings, or the Malik of Malik, the reigner of reigners. Nobody reigns greater than him. You see that? Most people probably looking at that and you thinking his kingdom, you thinking we're gonna be talking about structural matters. No. We're not talking about structural matters. We're talking about the difference of the two kingdoms, how you get in it. Because you know why we talking about being born again? If you recall, I told you to remember sons of light. In Ezekiel 46, he tell you how the prince give an inheritance to all of his sons. And where he says, he that overcometh, he shall inherit all things. He shall be my son, and I will be his Elohim. So the purpose of how his kingdom is not of this world, because his kingdom is strictly for his offspring. If you are not born Elohim, you are not a part of that kingdom. And you can only be born of Elohim through what we read. You remember what we read in Isaiah 40? Psalms 40. He said, I have not hid your loving kindness. No, you lived your faithfulness, your loving kindness, your salvation, your righteousness, and your truth. Because remember, right? I was just talking to Trey about that earlier. He was asking about something else. But this is a key component. The gospel, again, is not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the confirmation of the gospel. The gospel has already been told. How can you believe on somebody if the witness comes when he gets here? The witness had to come before. How can it be good news if you don't get the news before he arrives? You don't get the good news when he gets there. You had to hear of the news before he came. So when he came, you would know that this is the one who the news was about. You know what I'm saying? And I think we overlook. Michael, you ever went there? How many times you went to church in your life? Praise the Lord. You about in the same book. Like, we know you went to church. Yeah, all the time. Mike be in there. I know you went because you was a member of a church. She was in the choir. I ain't mad at you. You used to go to church, Tanisha? You was in the choir too? You was on the praise team? Oh, you went to Abyssinia. You went to the Ethiopian church. Oh, I forgot. That's a family church. Now, you know, Abyssinia, that's what they call Ethiopia for a time. That's what you ain't know that? They didn't tell you that. How they got y'all at a church called Abyssinia and don't tell you that's the Ethiopian church? Hell. Monte, you even go to church? I'm talking about you went regularly or sparingly? Let me ask you this here. Of those of y'all who went to church, was it a man or a woman who compelled you to go?
It was in the church.
No, I only ask because that's the what's the word I'm looking for? That's the usual story that I hear from people. That is usually mother or grandmother, mostly grandmother, that compels them to have to go. Or you gonna go. You know what I'm saying? We got to go give thanks to the Lord. But you be like, but grandma, you were just drunk last night. Don't worry about it. Put your clothes on and let's get to this church. Grandma got all these pictures of white Jesus in the house, cussing everybody out, smoking cigarettes in the bike room. You know what I'm talking about? Talking about how your granddaddy ain't about nothing. I hate this nigga. We finna go praise the Lord on Sunday. And you be like, I know something about this ain't right. Taylor said he used PM with intermissions. He was in the choir, Bible study, and all. His auntie made him go. Raised by 7 boys. Because I noticed that gonna lead to a lot of young church outside of funerals and weddings one time. As forth as being of an older mind, because there's pictures of me going to Easter, but as far as I can remember, because my memory starts at age 5, and I only recall stepping into a church in 2000 when we went to Atlanta. My uncle wanted me to come to church with them, and all these white folks were shaking and looking. I'm like, this here, like, I want to go. I don't believe none of these people in here talking about. That's where he was going. And I bet. Like I wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. And I was on strange land, so I didn't want to go outside the building and roll up and smoke in front of the people building and possibly get arrested in another state. Weed in your pocket. I take my weed everywhere. Never leave home without. Dude, this 2000, there wasn't no bid at all that. All the weed was good.
Gotcha. Huh?
Straight up. Saran said his granny was a devout Catholic, church every Saturday and Sunday and Wednesday, but couldn't say one sentence without dropping it. Hilarious with that accent. Let me move on. Let me move on. All right, let's take a look, right? Let's come back to Isaiah 52. Sit down, boy. You want to get popped? In your snot? Box. In your snot box. He said Baptist for him, his granddaddy was a pastor and his mama played the organ. Oh, you know, that same thing with you. If your granddaddy a pastor, you know you're going. You know you're going. Ain't no, I ain't going. And granddaddy a pastor because he's looking at your mama or your daddy, whichever one of his child. So why my grandson wasn't in service today? Well, you going. You going. I thank the Lord. I'm glad I ain't have to deal with none of that. And the only reason why I say that is because you have to unlearn a lot of things. Like when you don't come from the church, and when I'm talking about any church, and you come to dealing with the word, it's not as a difficult transition because the information is just new versus unlearning what you thought you knew. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think it's a little easy for me because I ain't know nothing. So I didn't have to unlearn anything because I didn't know anything to begin with. But I know it's difficult if you come from the church and you feel like they done lied to you, and then you come to a Hebrew organization and you feel like they done lied to you, and then you actually get a chance to hear the gospel. Oh, she Irish. You got to unlearn a lot of information, and that can make your journey difficult because the human mind is comfortable in routine. The human mind doesn't like to change and unlearn things and relearn, not in older age. That's why I say that with kids, you have to teach them proper ways early. It is very difficult to unlearn and relearn the older you get because human beings are creatures of habit. You get stuck in habit and you want to stay in habit because in those habits is where you're comfortable at. And when you have to change habits, you have to be made uncomfortable. And people don't like to be uncomfortable. Isaiah 52 and 2. Jeremiah James Burke. Sean said his grandma, granddaddy, and auntie was part of the church, but he asked so many questions that they stopped making him go. Sean, that's definitely a way to get you out of church if you ask questions. I remember my mama went off on me about that. I said, Mom, the book say, I remember reading that, 16 years old, that you weren't supposed to eat pork in the text. I said, Ma, I thought only Muslims didn't eat pork. She said, pray over your food and it's blessed. But see, they raised us to not take people's word for nothing and to look stuff up for yourself. So I searched the book and I searched the book and I searched the book and I ain't find none of that. And she just told me to leave her alone when I came to her with my conclusions, that you don't know what you're talking about. And after that, the smell and taste of pork repulsed my soul. And I ain't ate none since, and that was 1996. Straight up.
Jesus, you little hoes at the church. Yeah.
Oh, that nigga said a little hoe. Well, I knew some chicks that told me when they were going to Titus Dome, boy, they would get their back bust up on the ground.
Huh? That what I told him? I was like,
Oh, I know the hoes at the church, but these ain't grown women. I'm talking about we in high school. No, I'm talking about getting bust up on the ground. That's disrespectful.
Children's church.
Children's church indeed.
Wait, the pastor shallow.
Start at the top. He in the church and everybody else.
Hey, I ain't saying that. I know hunting was going on.
Then you go on the ground.
No, I mean when they told me that, I wasn't going to church. Then I was disgusted. You niggas heathens. That's what it must have been. They're talking about getting topped off at the church house, niggas fighting at the church house. Oh, you old raggedy niggas. Jessica say she didn't go to church growing up, but she did go when she was older, faithfully for a year. And once she heard the pastor tell them to read on their own, and she did, she never came back. Very well then. She said she kept telling Tavon, this ain't right.
They bringing the plates. Yeah, all right. Been on the go all week.
Who on the go?
That's it.
Shoot, he ain't got no stakes.
Definitely stay.
That nigga like this here. I'm in the wind. He floating away. At least ain't no scriptures after dark in them.
Are you dirty, boy?
Shoot, they dirty.
That's after dark.
After dark. Now get apart.
That's after dark.
52 and 2. Shake yourself from the dust. Arise and sit down, O Jerusalem. Loose yourself from the bands of your neck, O captive daughter of Zion. Let's talk about this loose yourself. You know what loose is? It's patak. To open or to be open. You got pay, cot, and tie. All you know is that the word of the covenant separate. Let's continue. For thus saith Yahuwah, you have sold yourselves for nothing, you shall be redeemed without money. For thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, my people went aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrian oppressed them without cause. Now therefore, what have I here, saith Yahuwah, that my people is taken away for naught? They that rule over them make them to howl. Saith Yahuwah, and my name continually every day is blasphemed. Therefore my people shall know my name, therefore they shall know in that day that I am he that do speak. Behold, it is I. Hold on, look what he said. They're going to know who it is talking. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bring good tidings, that publish shalom, that bring good tidings of good, that publish salvation, that say unto Zion, your Elohim reign. Now again, y'all know what Basar is. Literally gladden good news, to announce salvation is good news, and to preach. Woo! Look at your boy. You caught the shoe like you was in Pick and Save back in the 80s, man. That's what used to happen. They don't know about Pick and Save. Yeah, that jump probably, no, Pick and Save. Yeah, that jump might have been gone. You look like you was offended to even the notion of Pick and Save. No, I know how she said it. I've been to Pick and Save. You worked there too?
My dad.
Oh, I thought you said you worked there. I definitely used to go and Pick and Save and steal from them people.
I used to stay on the water from the state.
Pick and Save right over there on Lone Star. That's where I used to steal all my wrestling men from. Right there, Pick and Save on Lone Star. And I was trying to figure out a way to steal the ring. My mama bought me one for Christmas, so I ain't have to do it. I was gonna get it. I don't know how I was gonna get it up out of there. I ain't even lie to you. Shoot. And I used to hit Family Dollar on beat all the WCW wrestling men and the belts. Close your legs. 52 and 8. Yo, what's what he say? Yo, watch me. Lift up the voice, and the voice together, with the voice together shall be seen, for they shall see eye to eye, when Yahuwah shall bring again Zion. Break forth into joy, sing together, you waste places of Jerusalem. For Yahuwah have comforted his people. He have redeemed Jerusalem. You who have made bare his Kadesh arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our Elohim. Let's look at watch. Listen, right? It is Safar. I want you to think about this here, right? Sar, hey, hey. It is someone who looks out, who keeps watch, observes, and watches. Now, of course, you know every apostle, prophet, pastor, evangelist, and teacher is a watchman. See, niggas on the internet think they're a watchman just because they post some script. You ain't no watchman.
Move the table up.
Take your hand out your pocket. Move the table.
Thank you. Let's get one. Thank you. Just one. Thank you.
Side, pay, and hey.
Thank you.
You look at side, pay, and hey. You know you got sides, you got the way. You can sit back and look at the Yahushua commands the way. That watchman's supposed to do. What are the watchmen commanded? For you to believe on Yahushua, that's it. There's no other way for that. Yahushua is the chief watchman. But listen to this here, right? He said that you'll see eye to eye.
Got it.
And that's Ra, Ayin, but you'll see eye to eye. You'll see Elohim at this time. But see, let's look at 1 John chapter 5, though, on general principle.
Got it.
Huh? 1 John 5:1.
Over there with your mom.
Go over there with your mama. First John 5:1. Whosoever believes that Yahushua is the Mashiach is born of Elohim. Everyone that loved him, that begat, love him, also that is begotten of him. So what is this telling you, right? Paul, John 8. Remember what we read over there in John 18:37? Everyone that is of the truth does what? And John 18:37, he said, everyone that is of the truth does a particular thing. What is that thing? They hear his voice. Let me get it for you. Matter of fact, if you of the truth, that means you would be what? Born of the truth. Because you can't be born of the Amach or the Amunah unless you were born of it. Which means you have to be born of Elohim. You understand? Now, this is the point that we're looking at with his kingdom not in of this world. There was nobody who's in his kingdom who was not born of Elohim, which means they would have been circumcised in heart. There will be no one in the kingdom who is not born of Elohim. Pause. Zephaniah 3 before we even get this to John 8. Oh, would you like for me to knock her teeth out? Oh, you seem exasperated by my statement. Well, I can go ahead and knock it out for you. I got some pliers in the car. Would you like for me to pull it out? Dr. Isaac Yankum? But do you want me to be Dr. Isaac Yankum?
Let me do a caution, let me get it out. Yeah, now it's not ready.
Nah, it's not ready.
Got that string on it.
Woo, that hurt. Zephaniah 3:11, that hurt. Chicken patties.
You look like you like chicken patty.
You used to be at the lunch line every day looking for a chicken patty. What they had?
Got chicken salad?
Well, them people be quick to serve you out them doggone processed chicken patties in doggone middle and high school. It's contributed to cholesterol and diabetes and strokes since 1945. Zephaniah 3:11. He said, in that day, shall you not be ashamed for all your doing, wherein you have transgressed against me? For then I will take out of the midst of you them that rejoice in your pride, And you shall be no more haughty because of my Kadash mountain. I will also leave in the midst of you an afflicted and poor people, and they shall trust in the name of Yahuwah. The remnant of Yasharal shall not do iniquity, nor speak lies, neither shall a deceitful tongue be found in their mouth. They shall feed and lie down, and none shall make them afraid. Notice he said an afflicted and poor people. We've already read in Ecclesiastes, everybody that's in his kingdom is born poor, or humble, or lowly, or in thirst, or in hunger. I want you to come over here to what was it? Just in my brain. Oh yeah, Isaiah chapter 4. I should remember Isaiah 4. Everybody like to read Isaiah 4 for the first verse. We're not here for the first. I seen a brother tell a woman that the other day, and she got offended because he was like, "Man, it's gonna get rough out here, and women gonna need men, and this, that, and the third." And she was like, "Why we got to do this, that, and the third?" But yes, it is going to get ugly in the earth to a day that you really gonna need a man. See, that's why women screaming for protection now, because you want it when things get hectic for men who do not owe you protection to protect you, because you're going to get slaughtered. And what they're going to find out is that if you're not under that man's authority, you will surely die. Because ain't nobody finna risk their life and take no bullet for nobody that is not their woman or their daughter. They're not going to do it. And you a damn fool if you think a nigga's supposed to do that. But you know why women out here screaming that? You know, and we've already said it. Women are screaming that black men should protect all men because you feel like these men are too inferior to be your man, but you want the protection of a man. Well, if you want, because what do women love to scream, right? Ain't no good men out here. That's what they like to say. All the black men in jail or gay. All these niggas out here ain't locked up, and all these niggas ain't gay. These niggas don't make the money you want them to make. Because you want to ball out on his dime and then divorce him and take all his money, thinking you're going to get a better nigga. I done told y'all this for years, boy. It is easier for a nigga to get a younger, better version of you than for you to get another man. Especially if you done had children. Because if he got bread and he got something going on, boy, he don't want you. Because he going to want that chick that's 10 years younger than you, who ain't been with no men, who going to agree with what he say, who gonna follow what he say, and cooperate and support him in all his endeavors, than a fool with a woman who 10 to 15 years older, who feel like it is your duty and job to serve me and please me on every cut and corner. And you done been with niggas. You know what I'm talking about? And you done been with niggas. Nigga, you been driven off the lot. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think that dumb shouldn't matter. It may not matter to y'all, but it matters. We talked about this before. Y'all control who gets your vagina, but you don't control you getting married. You have no control over that. That's why women like that lady in that video give those ultimatums and things of that nature for that control. That bothers you. That's why a lot of women cut niggas off and leave niggas when they get in a relationship, because then they can say that's where they can get their control at. Because you don't control getting in a relationship and you don't control getting married. The only thing you can control is who get in your vagina. And that's the same thing with Yahuwah. You don't control who get in his kingdom. You don't control who gets his spirit. He controls that. The only thing that you control is actually sitting down and hearing his word. Shoot, let her. I don't know. She might hit head first. And that's serious, dead serious though. That's why a lot of women, these black men need to protect us. You would have had protection because that nigga wanted to marry you. But you didn't want to marry him. You waiting on the baller to come marry you. You know what I'm saying? But the baller's never coming. He's never coming. He's not coming around your way. He's going to pick you up. Look at, man, it's a girl I went to school with. She just posted this yesterday. Who I'd wife me? Who wants a wife? That statement alone lets you know ain't nobody coming to get you, baby.
Hell is dry.
It's over. In a nice evening dress, showing off her wares.
Yeah.
She got
40.
Wow. I got a going one. Somebody. Please.
Because she's still attractive as she was when we was.
Somebody, please.
She was still attractive as she was when we were younger. But guess what she think gonna feel to you? I got a job, I got my own house, I got this, I got that. Nigga don't care. You pass your prime because been with niggas. Quite a few. But what a nigga looking at is I can get a 20-year-old new and improved version of you.
They been with
Ain't gonna wipe her. That's enough.
She ain't gonna accept it because she high maintenance and she got high standards. So if you can't do A, B, C, D, she not gonna fool with you. And that's how she gonna be the old maid with that. Hey, nah, dude said on that video he ain't lied. Most women already met their husband and messed that up. Look at Nisha, not me. You talking about thank the Lord, not me. You know what I'm saying? Because we not taught to marry. Like I said, you don't necessarily want to marry too young, but the woman is not taught to, baby, don't wait till you 30, 35 to do that. It's too late. You're actually outside the purpose of what you were made for. You were made to be a mother and a wife and a helpmeet to a man. That's what you were created for. That's the world telling you, empower yourself. Don't be like Amber Rose around here. Don't be like Kim Kardashian. You ran through, you disrespected. You look at all them famous women. Look at Halle Berry. That woman been married about 4 times. At that point, you know she trash. Nia Long ain't never been married. That's a beautiful woman. Ain't nobody married her. Ask yourself why. Who's a hoe? Oh, of course. You can tell in her speech. Look at Tracy Ellis Ross. I told you about that a few months ago. She around here taking booty pics. Talking about she controls when she get married. I do the choosing. That's the sign of a woman who can't get a nigga. Your 47-year-old behind talking about you do the choosing. It's too late. You 50, ho. Raised by a white man. Jewish man at that. Jewish. You 47 years old taking a look back at it photos. Baby, it's over. You finished. You done. Ain't nobody coming around that corner. But you know why ain't nobody coming around? Because I feel like I deserve a certain type of man. And that certain type of man only want to put his rod in you. He ain't want to take you home because you're disagreeable. You know what I'm talking about? Like, it's a lot of women on this earth that feel like it is beneath them to fix a man a plate and bring it to him. How dare you, ho? Seriously. I mean, look at Buddy talking about he got a wide sex chore. Nigga, that woman said she was offended at sex on demand. Why would you be offended by pleasing your man? You think nigga didn't marry you just to be like, I got a wife. Nigga, I want some vagina. Straight up. I'm gonna choose one woman and then I still don't get no vagina. I couldn't stay single for that. How am I married and I gotta beat my meat? That should never happen. The only way you married and you beat your meat because you have psychological problems that only the Lord can fix. That means you just like something wrong with you. You know what I'm talking about? But you married and you can't get none? Come on, man, that don't even make no sense. You ain't got too many jobs as a woman, and that's in the top 5. For real though. Then you gonna get mad. He cheated on me. Well, why you think he did it? That nigga got tired of looking at Pornhub, waking up with the blue balls every day. I'm tired of this. I don't deserve this. Cramp all arms, all y'all. What's wrong with you? Like Quagmire? Right hand bigger than the left. But guess what though? When Jada Pinkett was thinking behind do it, it's an entanglement, and I understand she wasn't happy. Man, bump, you a hoe. That's what you is. You're a dog face hoe. Same way her mama just got on there talking about her daddy raped her, and when she pressed her on it, I don't want to talk about it because you're lying, hoe. Because you're lying. In your mind, you asked for some coochie, you gave it to him, you ain't want to give it to him, so in your mind, he raped you. But you open your legs though. But he raped you though. You bring it up and then say you don't want to talk about it. You lying, ho. You know what I'm saying? You lying, bro. Ain't nowhere in the world. But you just got on hold in front of the whole world and called your husband a rapist. And don't nobody see no problem with that. Because if you make that accusation, you're going to have to tell that story. We ain't just going to move past that. Now, see, Jada Pinkett gave us a little slide because that's her mama. But a real interviewer said, no, you can't escape by that. You're going to have to tell that. Now you done ruined that man's reputation in the earth. Well, you know that's the worst thing a man can have on his head? Being a child molester or a rapist? No, man. There ain't no light accusation. Dude, nigga gonna fight and defend against that vehemently. Nah, man. Nigga like, okay, that nigga rape kids. Hold up, cuz. There's 3 things you can't call no man. Rapist / child molester. That's 1 or 2. If you want to look at it that. And call him a snitch or a rat. You can't call no man no junk like that. I mean, but a lot of niggas don't need niggas slap that junk. Nigga already know that. Unless a nigga is just outright saying you performed a homosexual act on him or to him. Nigga just saying, oh, that nigga gay. Man, nigga be like, man, fuck that whole nigga. But if a nigga say, oh, that nigga sucked my penis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's calling you, but like he says, man, it is calling you a punk. But you make an accusation.
But you saying I did something.
That's all your point.
No, that's calling me a murder.
I gotta cut you.
Nah, I gotta cut you.
I gotta cut you. I definitely gotta cut you, son.
You know, dishonor my family name. Isaiah 4:1. I got kids. You around here talking about I've been around here bumping booties with you, boy. But I will say this here though. In my experience, boy, a punk ain't gonna lie about that, boy. It's consequences and repercussions for that.
That's cool. It is punk.
I seen that on the road. I seen that on the road, boy. Every punk I seen accuse a nigga of ungodly acts, boy, that nigga did it, boy. That nigga did it, boy. When I was at Tallahassee Road Parade, that punk was like this here. Oh, I wasn't just catching, I was pitching too. Nigga looked at that nigga like this here, like, bro, what's up? That nigga ain't say nothing. Nigga named Flame. From Panama City. I never forget that nigga. Big nigga was cool. Then the punk got there, and then they were like, oh, that nigga was messing with the punk at Waco. I'm like, nigga, what? Because the punk used to play ball. Nigga could play. You know what I'm saying? Then you want to try to hit a post move, here he come. Nigga turn around and shoot a jump. That nigga want to back you down in the post. Nigga like this here, shoot. Nigga, free lane. That's your bucket, my nigga. Straight up. I'm not finna stop you. You know what I'm talking about? When that punk was in there, man, that punk had titties, boy. That nigga say, oh, I used to mess with him. That nigga still walk right up on Cub and say, so you gonna act like I was just catching and not catching. Nigga like, I said, oh Lord, this is an abomination before God. I'm out of here. Can't be my friend no more, my nigga. Oh, Isaiah 4:1. He ain't say nothing. He couldn't say nothing. That just made me think about the same token what we were trapping in. Chick came up and he was a dude say, Kia likes to smoke crack. He said she smoked crack in a Sprite can right in my face. So she come back double right round to the spot and she was like, well, tell him how I stick my thumb in your butt. Nigga look at that nigga like, what's up? That nigga ain't say nothing. That was right out there on Justina, boy. I'll never forget that. That was hilarious. Because the chick, when she was young, man, she didn't even look bad, man. She was like 23 years old, smoking rocks. Old school in the Sprite can. But boy, when she hit that nigga with the thumb, that nigga just stood there like, I say, come on, man. Well, what y'all doing out here? The world ain't right. It been uncool. Monica looking like, shoot, I had a couple niggas ask me to do that. I said, Monica said, no, sir. Isaiah 4:1. You from New York City, Michael. Anybody ask you to do some crazy stuff like that? Because y'all got freaky niggas up there.
No.
Oh, you was a covered lady. Say somewhat, huh? Oh, okay. I'm trying to make sure you wasn't out here running these streets. Running them streets don't mean running them streets. Running them streets mean changing another nigga sheets. Isaiah 4:1 though. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by your name and take away our reproach. Here we go. This is what we want, verse 2 though. In that day shall the branch of Yahuwah be beautiful in esteem, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that escape the Yasharal. Let's look at that word for escape. Look at you heard escape, you ready to start singing. Because we know that's who you like. You the only one in here like escape.
I don't like it.
No, don't worry about it. Let it pass.
Let it pass. We definitely had a whole conversation about that. That's why I said something.
Can't hold me to
it. Listen, right? I want y'all to look at the word, right? It is el-ata, deliverance or escape. Follow me now. I need y'all to roll with me on this one here. Pay, lamad, yad, tet, and hey. It's pay, lamad, yad, tet, and hey. So of course you got hey. You got some man of every man would raise arms if you would, and just have Yahusha there. But now you can take that tet and what you gonna have? Well, you're gonna say, well, take that tet and we're gonna say contain. Well, what is he contained with? Worship. Why is he contained with worship? Because the word of the mouth of Elohim taught it to him.
I would say the secret of the Mashiach.
You can roll with that too. Because what is the secret? The gospel. Why and what does that secret manifest to? The Ruach. Why does it manifest to the Ruach? Because you got to be born of Elohim. You can only be born of Elohim or the Ruach. Well, how are you going to be born of Elohim? Got to believe the gospel. Because what he tell you in the book of Jeremiah, the book of Ezekiel, you need to make you a new what? New heart and what else? A new spirit. Which is to be what? Born again. So the gospel is in Genesis and Malachi, the gospel. When he told you to be born again, you should have already knew that the prophets had told you that. You're supposed to already knew that. See, that's the difference between us and them. Them people already knew all of that. They either believed it or they didn't. We don't know any of it. And we think we wiser and have more understanding of people who were taught the word in the correct fashion from their birth. And that don't even make no sense. That makes sense to you, Taylor? That's how we live in this day and time, don't it? Niggas walk around here and think they know the word better than people who walked in it 3 years ago. Ain't no, it's probably it's a very small amount of brews in this dispensation of time that grew up going to an assembly that taught the word of Yahuwah from the time they were a child. And now they grown. It's only a handful. It ain't that many. Most of us were mired in all manner of iniquity, idolatry, and sin from the time that you were born and didn't come across the word till you were surely an adult. Who that is, Lil Joe? Come here, Lil Joe. What over there doing, boy? Your mama just sitting over there looking at you. Okay. Now you want to ask. It ain't right. 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 Isaiah 4:3. It shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remain in Jerusalem shall be called. It's the Ruach. You already know. And we'll read John 5. We got time. John 6, and you can make it 60. John 6 and 60.
Yes, sweetie. Okay. Let's go, Bird.
Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard it's a hard saying, who can hear it? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, does this offend you? What if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up to where he was before? It is the Ruach that quicken. The flesh profit nothing, that he'll ransom you from the power of the grave, and that he would do it by the breath of Elohim. There's no other way around that. I'm over here to what it is. John chapter 5. Five and 21. Let me ask y'all this here. What prophet made a man alive in the grave? It wasn't Elijah. That you're correct. You got the story correct. You got the person wrong. It was Elisha. Man died and they threw him in the grave, and what happened? Touched his bones and he lived. Elijah laid on the little boy. That's right. But send that man away. You can get 2 Kings 13 for the backup in a moment. Let's read this 5 and 20. Let's read it. 5 and 21. John. For as Abba raised up the dead and quickened them, even so the Son quickened whom he will. So he makes alive who he wants. For Abba have judged no man, but have committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor Abba. He that honor not the Son, honor not Abba, which have sent him. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that hear my word and believe on him that sent me, have everlasting life, and shall not come into the condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live. Now, let me ask you this question. This is an easy question. He said, there's a time coming when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and live. Ain't it what it say? Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this question. If you heard his voice before you went in the grave, would you still be alive or would you be dead? You would be alive. To hear his voice is the shamar, to hear, to tend, to obey. So what is my point? That's why I say it's an easy question. In order to hear his voice in the grave, you had to hear his voice before you went in it. So if you didn't hear that voice before you went in it, you ain't going to hear it when you in it. Because you would have to hear the call of the word and follow it before you went in. See, that's what a lot of brothers don't understand, what dudes want to debate. And I said, man, I told Eve about it. And he told me how he felt like, and we've talked about this before in the past, that dudes don't know what the gospel is for the most part. And like I say, when you say that it's about Yahushua and his witness, they call you Christian. Because what they don't want to do is accept that you're declaring that Elohim is not. We talked about this the other night, right? Every instance when Yahushua is in the Gospels where he's about to be killed, what's the key thing that they were mocking him on? In Matthew, how did they mock him? Did they not put a crown of thorns on his head? Did they not put a purple robe on him? Did they not put a rod in his hand? Did they not bow down and act like they were worshiping him, mocking him as if he was a king? Did not the scribe say, don't write, he said he the king of the Jews? And what did Pilate say? I wrote what I wrote. You know what I'm talking about? What they kept mocking him, if you the king of the Jews, because that was the whole point. He was declaring under Zion that he was king. I'm the king you rejected in Samuel, nigga. That's what the gospel is. You're giving the good news that Elohim is king, and he's king over life and death. He reigns over that. That's why he said, come to sit at my right hand till you make your what? And what all these old bald-headed hoes want to scream? The Lord has made my enemies my footstool. Oh, you just selling weed. Ain't nobody made no enemies your footstool. You ain't got no enemies, ho. But the thing is, you ain't even got no enemies. Don't nobody dislike you. Now we talking about this last night. The only women who get disliked are attractive women. See, ugly women don't like attractive women. You know why ugly women don't like attractive women? Because the attractive women get the men, and they don't get nobody. So I want her to be ugly like me.
Everybody.
I hate her. She thinks I've always heard women say, "Man, screw that hoe. She thinks she all that." She's just a lie. You can't help it because she got clear skin and a pretty face, and you don't. Blame your parents. They gave you them genetics. Because black men will deal with the butterface. You look like you done ran up on a couple butterfaces, especially what you talking about last week. How you were talking about last week? You shooting whole nigga bags and they got the butterfly.
I ain't winning no conversation.
Nisha, ain't that what he said?
Hey, Johnny, but he's gonna come out with apple tart. After I was all your teachers because treacherous lifestyle.
Huh? Treacherous lifestyle. So we already know if she can get her with a nigga bag of weed, she's a butterface. You gonna have one or two. She got a banging body, butterface.
She just ain't really have too many more.
She didn't have no morals.
That's true. But they were young. I can.
I give you that. Ain't too young for the nickel bag, and you got to buy the swisher.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about somebody knows. Everybody knows.
Johnny said, I think Johnny said, shoot, I think I pimped them low level hoes in the hood. Nigga, what you talking about?
You low level.
He was low level.
Scheming.
Scheming.
Low level. Hey.
That's what Nisha couldn't believe. You ain't take him on a date. You ain't got to take a scallywag nowhere. Now you got to shoot scallywag and top you off at the park, nigga, when the lights go off. You acting like you ain't had no scallywag friends in your day. So you thought. Hey, I'm being honest with you, right? This one thing women don't want to believe. Every woman got a real bald-headed hoe friend. You don't know she that bald-headed hoe because she covered up with. But every woman got one. Well, if you ain't in the word, boy, I ain't going for that talking about pristine and guarding up her vagina. If you sucking penis and having sex and you hanging with women, it's one woman, boy, she's a bust down. You just don't know it. You don't want to believe it. Nigga running through it. And it probably usually always be the one girl, these niggas ain't no good out here. She getting ran through. But she shouldn't be a friend. Especially y'all was in college, so I know y'all had one or two. Niggas swimming in them like they in the British in the aisle. Swimming in them. Breaststroke, backstroke, every stroke. Stroking. Shoot, that's what they be doing. Then she go back to her city where she came from and act like she's just a nice, comely, chaste woman. I ain't saying y'all friend, but guess what? It's a lot of women go to college, get ran through, go somewhere else, act like ain't no miles on it, like she can try to play with the odometer. You bald-headed hoes don't. Hoes do.
Refined hoes.
I'm just saying hoes, period. I ain't say bald-headed hoes.
No,
I'm just saying
you referenced scallywag.
Scallywag.
That was I ain't gonna lie, you did. It is a difference.
It is a difference. Yeah. But my point is this here. All y'all got a hoe friend. All y'all got a hoe friend. Mike got a hoe sibling.
Oh man. Not the blood. Know they bloodline?
Shoot, might have a whole mama. Shoot, you never know.
A whole
grandma,
whole world,
whole auntie,
whole community,
a whole community. Where we at? Come on, let's finish this out, man. Isaiah 4. Look at 4 and photo. I think I finished John 5, right? Let me feed 5 and 26. We still holding 1 John. I know I said that John be funny, but clean it up, baby. Get you that word and wash them sins away. You might could get you a semi-decent man of the Lord. I can't make you no guarantees.
Semi-finals team.
Can't make no guarantees. Woo! Not playoff three. He paid for us. Abba have life in himself. So have he given to the Son to have life in himself. That's why I call it the 2 Kings 13. Come on around here. Don't skip it. But Dare say don't skip it. That was what I said. I think she old enough to say to say your name. I forgot how old little muffin was before she could say my name. It was never when it was Wayne. I don't even know how you put them two together. 13 and 14. 2 Kings 13 and 14. Look, Joe, what you know? Why your mama ain't watching you? You got your mama whole face, boy. She said she wanted back. That boy happy. I'm gonna leave him alone. He said, now Elisha was falling sick of the sickness, wherefore he died. Do you recall where it tell you about who else fell sick of the sickness and almost died? Hezekiah, right? Remember they talk about having you got a sickness from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet? Let's roll with it then. And your Josiah, or Joash, excuse me, the king of Yasharal came down unto him and wept over his face and said, oh, my Abba, the chariots of Yasharal and the horsemen thereof. Elisha said unto him, take bow and arrows. And he took unto him bow and arrows. And he said to the Malach of Yasharal, put your hand upon the bow. And he put his hand upon it, and Elisha put his hand upon the king's hand. And he opened the window eastward, and he opened it. And Elisha said, shoot, and he shot. And he said, the arrow of Yahuwah's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Syria, for you shall smite the Syrians in Aphek till you have consumed them. He said, take the arrows, and he took them. He said unto the Malach of Yasharal, smite upon the ground, and he smote thrice and stayed. The man of Elohim was wroth with him. You should have smitten 5 or 6 times. Then you had smitten Syria till they had consumed it. Whereas now you shall smite Syria but thrice. Look at it, he told him, well, you should have smacked. Elisha died, and they buried him in the band of the Moabites, invaded the land at the coming in of the year. It came to pass as they were burying a man, behold, they spied a band of men, and they cast the man into the sepulchre of Elisha. And the man was let down and touched the bones of Elisha, and he revived and stood upon his feet. Now, of course, y'all notice it. It's been a while since we looked at it. But look what happened, right? They threw him in the sepulchre, and he touched the bones and was made alive. Let's look at something. Let's look at this right here. Let's look at revive. Real quick, like.
Hey. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Not a revival. Any of y'all ever been to a revival? Of course you got, oh, look at me. I've been to several.
We trying to make us back alive.
Make them stack alive. You have fun at the revival? He's like, I hate it here.
We never made it.
Oh, you been the one too, huh?
We never came back.
Look how you looking clapping. You look like you enjoyed every minute. You enjoyed revival?
Yeah, that's just a week.
Of course, all week revival. Somebody getting revived, all right. The hope being revived.
Pockets being revived.
Pockets being revived.
The boys trying to get them dead.
Of course, you know for revive, you know what word it is. It's Kai Yah. You remember Kai Yah, Lil Johnson? Kai Yah, hey. Go ahead and go ahead and look and behold the worship and be separated. Of course, it's to live, to have life, to remain alive, to be quickened. So you look at it, right, it takes you back to what we just read in Colossians. Of being in the circumcision made without hands and be buried into the baptism, but raised according to the faith of the operation of Elohim was raised Mashiach from the dead. That's why you go get immersed to be put in the grave with him. Because when he came out of the grave, what he said he was, flesh and bone. You touch his bones, you made alive. So you heard his voice, you made alive. See that stuff he throw right in there, people overlook it. You think that's just a story about a man coming alive because he touched the bones. So what made the man come alive? Or was it the bones? Or was it the ruach that existed in the bones? Let's look and see why. 2 Kings chapter 2. 2 Kings 2 and 9. Silence, boy. 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 9. And it came to pass when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask what I shall do for you before I be taken away from you. And Elisha said, I pray you, let a double portion of your ruach be upon me. He said, you have asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I'm taken from you, it shall be so unto you. But if not, it shall not be so. It came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up into a whirlwind into heaven. So why did I read that? Of course, you know, he seen his master get taken away and the ruach rested upon him, a double portion of it. So you see what made it of him alive was the spirit of the man who was in the bones of Elisha. What makes you alive is the spirit of the man who you get immersed into his death with, which causes you to be made into his likeness or become a son of Elohim. That's why, and the reason, now let me ask y'all this here for your memory's sake. Why, according to the law, that he says there's no male or female in Yahushua HaMashiach? Why is that the case according to the law? Huh? Genesis 5? What about Genesis 5? And then so what is this? And then that's correct. But why is it that the case? Because the woman comes from the man. So if the woman is in Mashiach, then who is she in? She is in the man. And as he just stated in Genesis 5, in male and female, he created he them, and he called their name Adam. And the epistle to the Ephesians let you know that the whole family of heaven and earth is named after who? Yahusha. That's why there's no male or female. You call by his name, regardless of what to look at it, you eat. He's Adam. On your feet. 1 John chapter 5. We're going to wrap this up right now. Lead them people alone. Oh, I need to finish Isaiah 4.
Want that first, brother?
Yeah, I need that. Okay. Isaiah 4 and 4. That 4 for 4. You used to run them whole around there for that 4 for 4. Take it to the get what you want, girl.
It's on me.
Oh, well, I know you were messing with scallywags. You got the McDonald's on 8. Well, you around there dealing with them. You dealing with them as a whole. Oh yeah, that's acceptable. Oh boy, Roosevelt guards. Well, them women that came with burn marks and bullet holes.
Big tattoos on the chest.
Them the most masculine women in the hood you could get. Isaiah 4 and 4. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remain in Jerusalem shall be called Kadash, everyone that is written among the living in Jerusalem. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the ruach of judgment and by the ruach of burning. Yahuwah will create upon every dwelling place of Mount Zion, upon our assemblies, a cloud of smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For upon all the esteem shall be a defense. Of course, we done talked about this before, right? That ruach of burning. Because what is he coming with to fight with the earth with? Fire and his sword. What does fire do? It purges and makes pure. So he's going to purify you in his spirit and with fire. Let's read that in Matthew chapter 3. 3 and 11. Little Muffins and Abigail. What y'all over there doing? It looked like y'all not paying attention. What about you, Renee? What are you doing? I indeed immerse, this is Matthew 3:11. I indeed immerse you with water unto repentance, but he that come after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I'm not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire. Is that not what you just seen in Isaiah 4? Yeah. Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor and garner his wheat into the garner, and he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. Let's return ourselves to what we are. 1 John chapter. First John 5:2. Girl, hush. Hush. You're lying. You ain't in no emotional turmoil. Huh? You're lying. Now leave that woman alone and sit down and be still. He said, by this we know that we love the sons of Elohim when we love Elohim and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Elohim, that we keep his commandments. His commandments are not grievous. For whatsoever is born of Elohim overcome the world, and this is the victory that overcome the world, even our faith. Who is he that overcome the world? He that believes that Yahushua is the son of Elohim. Now, when you talk about overcoming, what did he tell you? Be of good cheer. He overcame the world. See, come over here to John chapter 8, because I called for that earlier and I ain't grabbed. Little girl, come here. Come on. That's what I thought. You're phony. You're phony.
Come on, come on, come on.
Ain't nothing wrong with you, girl. All out there. 8:21.
Yanni. Yanni.
John 8:21. Then said Yahushua again unto them, I go my way, and you shall seek me, and you shall die in your sins. Whither I go, you cannot come. Then said the Yahudim, will he kill himself, because he say, whither I go, you cannot come? He said unto me, you are from beneath, and I am from above. You are of this world, I am not of this world. I said therefore unto you that you shall die in your sins. If you believe not that I am he, you shall die in your sins. And they said unto him, who are you? And Yahushua said unto them, even the same that I said unto you from the beginning. You notice this here? He said, I'm the same. And I see you thinking that he's the same from the beginning of when he started preaching, when he's telling you I'm the same from when you opened up Genesis 1 and you read it. Oh, she done perfected her Morris right. She definitely done. You are not the father. She done perfected. Bird probably got the best one. Bird hit the corner like they hit the corner running from the cameraman and all. Verse 26, I have many things to say and to judge of you, but he that sent me is true. I speak to the world those things which I've heard of him. They understood not that he spake to them of the hour. And said Yahushua unto them, when you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you shall know that I am he, and that I do nothing of myself. But as my Abba hath taught me, I speak these things. He that sent me is with me, and the Father have not let me alone. I do always those things that please him. What was the greatest work that Yahushua did that pleased his Father? Dying. It's beared witness to the entirety of the text. We literally just read where it said Elohim was manifested in the flesh and justified in the Ruach. And to be justified in the Ruach means he would have had to die because he believed that he would not suffer his Kadash one to see corruption. And therefore that caused him, this day have I begotten you. That's what it says. He was not born of Elohim until he rose from the dead. See, this is the thing. He was born of Elohim from the foundation of the world, became a man. Elohim became a man, then he was born of his Abba again. So he was literally what? Born again. He literally did what he told you to do. That's how his kingdom is not of this world. That's why we read Isaiah 4 and Zephaniah 3 and Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Because in order, the difference between his kingdom and any other kingdom, see, come over here to Matthew 19, is that you got to be born of it. And you can't be born of it without the gospel. It's impossible. If you don't believe in the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach, what are you being born of?
Hey, shut. It's not talking.
19 to 25. Yahushua said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, that you which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his esteem, you shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal. Everyone that hath forsaken houses, brethren, sisters, father, or mother, or wife, or sons, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. See, and this is the key thing, what I was talking about earlier. There is a trade-off. You can't have it all. You're going to have to lose something. See, that's the big, see, you wondering why through the adversary, this country teaches people, more specifically women, that they can have it all. Because they're not telling you that you're going to have to forsake something in order to get certain things. You can't have everything that you want. That's impossible. That's not even realistic. Just like the brother on the video be talking about, which we done talked about this before. Only in America do they teach getting married for love. And we didn't have that conversation before. Only in America do they give you this romance version of what they put on movies and TV for a love that you will never get or have young men feel that they have to live up to, and in the case thereof, forsaking their masculinity. Because you can't love somebody like that and rule. Because how many kings have you ever seen that ruled and loved people like these people telling you? Even Mashiach, who is the greatest king to ever live, does not love and rule in that fashion. Because that type of love that they teach is to the catering of the weaker vessel, to the sacrifice of your rulership. Because we know what the book teaches what love is, and that what this society tells you it is not what the word tells you to do. It's not what the word tells. It doesn't mean that it's devoid of love, but it's an action. See, I've been told you all this here, right? Because the brother Kevin hit me up like, where did the stuff come with the ring and the proposing and all this other type of stuff? And like somebody posted on my page some photographs of some people wedding photos where they were getting fellatio. Where the wives were in their wedding dresses and the men were in their suits and the woman was giving them fellatio in the photos. And the women were smiling, so clearly that's something that they wanted to do. But in the comments, all the women were like, this is horrible. You're ruining this great magical day. And all it showed the mentality of was, this was about you. I'm not condoning what they were doing, but I'm talking about the point is, this was really about you and how everyone must cater. And so there's not a term called groomzilla. They literally had shows called Bridezilla where women acting a pure plum fool about a wedding to a nigga who she divorced less than 5 years later. All because this man has been programmed in his mind to do these things that society, you got women walk around from romantic stories like they done seen in a movie. How many people you know can tell that story? I bet your parents can't tell you that's the story how they fell in love. You know, people of a higher echelon, we done talked about this in the past, they marry for actual, tangible, and practical reasons that's beneficial. You know, every celebrity, they get married for brand building. You really think Russell Wilson love that woman? You really think they married because they just really genuinely love each other? Nigga, you just see Andrew Gillum got a wife. This nigga a whole pump. A whole pump. And his wife, nobody. But guess what? They put that stuff out there for you to believe in this fairy tale marriage and relationship they got whole time. That's for their image to expand their brand so they can make more money. Russell Wilson is one of the most marketable players in the NFL. See, this is what we don't know as poor people. That wealthy people get married. You know what I'm saying? You notice one thing, you ain't never seen a president not have a wife. Because ain't nobody want to look at a president and you ain't got no wife. You know what I'm saying? They don't do that. It's an image thing. Because what do you see with most celebrity marriages? What you see happen with them? They end. The celebrities you see that are married to regular people, they seem to be married for what? A very, very long time. But they usually don't be on the level of those type of people. But it's all for brand building. You think Kim Kardashian married Kanye West because she just thought he was the greatest man that she ever seen and wanted to be with? All that was to increase her brand exposure. But guess how we so stupid to look at it? You talking about that like you know them people like this. These people really love each other. She can have a whole nigga in private that she go see every night of the week. Like this here, man. Russell Wilson could be gay as the day is long. You'll never know it. Well, they got a baby together. What that mean? He could be. You don't know. Because it's just an image. Everything is carefully choreographed, and crafted for public consumption to feed the people a narrative and an image for the people to chase that they will never attain. That's manipulation at its finest. It's a fantasy world. It's not real. You think Jay-Z and Beyonce married because they just really, really love each other? Do you not see how the mergers of these two companies have benefited each other greatly monetarily? Nigga, don't nobody care about Sierra. When the last time you went and bought some music of Sierra? Niggas only talk about this hoe because she's married to a top flight quarterback.
You don't know it. You
don't know it. That means it ain't relevant.
You don't know it. You gotta get it call.
That nigga said that one song.
Listen. Level up.
The whole booty clapping song.
I still don't know what that is.
You done heard it every time you see a chick twerking. Level up, level up. I ain't even know that was Sierra till somebody tagged that in a poster of a woman dancing.
He couldn't get the name. Somebody had to give me
that.
Level up, level up. Level that hoe and level the brains. But I'm just saying though, I'm just talking about the crafting of an image and a thought process that can never be captured. Because that causes young women to chase a love from a beta male simp mangina. Then she get with the nigga and she don't want it. That causes broken homes. That causes traumatized children because the marriages get broken up. It is detrimental to society. You know what I'm saying? It's detrimental to society. Yes, he very well may be. He very well could be. I don't know if he is or he isn't, but I ain't gonna necessarily look and get what all you got all these women. I want my Russell Wilson. You done bought the lie. You done bought the lie. That nigga could literally be laid up with his offensive tackle. You don't know. After Andrew Gillum, you shouldn't doubt that. If you thought that stuff was real before that, after you see Andrew Gillum laying in his own pocket with a butt naked white man, you should never doubt in your mind that these people's marriages are arranged and for show. You can't doubt that no more after that. Because you saw you've heard stories from other people. You've seen the evidence there. That nigga was face down, butt naked in his own regurgitation. With a butt naked white man next to him.
That said, this is their usual.
This is their usual.
Quote unquote.
Elite level people, wealthy people marry for image and brand. They don't marry for love. Poor people marry for love. But then they don't even marry for love because you think you a mini version of Russell Wilson and Sierra. Nigga, you work at Kmart and she work at the grocery store. Y'all are regular people who do regular things.
I heard that's the more money make, lower the divorce rate.
Yeah, of course, the more money you make, the divorce rate is lower for probably three matters. One, she probably was already with you before you had the money. You know what I'm saying? Two, you married because y'all married for image. It don't look good to get divorced unless the narrative has run its course. And three, I don't want to get this whole no money.
Yeah. That's going to after a long time. Money
but Robert Johnson gave his wife $1.5 billion. Michael Jordan gave his ex-wife, who he was married to before he had anything, almost $200-300 million. And y'all already know Jeff Bezos' wife became the richest woman in the world just by leaving her husband. She didn't put no systems in place. She didn't do nothing but that turned that cardboard booty around from time to time.
That nigga said cardboard booty. Cardboard booty.
Cardboard. Because ain't no posterior back there. That ain't no booty. That's straight tailbone and back. That's drywall. Nigga got to go get the demo hammer to take the drywall out. And guess what he went and did? And as soon as he got rid of what he did, he went and got a new and improved version. Half her age.
No drywall.
No drywall. Same thing Michael Jordan did. You don't ever notice that? This dude get rid of his woman and he go gets a new and improved version. See, I was telling the brother this other day, because this is what women do. I done told her that before, they hit you with the shaming language. You only want younger women. I seen a woman say, why y'all want a woman that y'all can hold? That sounds like narcissistic control. That's shaming language. Because you feel like a man's supposed to be going back and forth and fighting with you versus taking a woman and fitting her into what you're doing. Because you a disagreeable skank. No, not a scallywag, a skank. That's white people terminology. You know the word that can make white women get upset. You know the word, Shayla, make a white woman get upset? Call her a cunt. See, black women, y'all will hear that. You be like, what did you call me? Well, a white woman gonna be ready to fight. She gonna be ready to fight. You know what I'm talking about? She gonna be ready to fight. That's a harsh word, and they harsh word. But that junk come in at like this here, man, like that junk ain't it's ugly. But I mentioned all that because that causes you to not want the love of Elohim, because the love of Elohim is diametrically opposed to the I'm talking about in America. I can't speak of what they do in other countries. It's diametrically opposed to the love that is pushed here. So when somebody come with you with the love of Elohim, it don't feel like love to you. It feels like oppression. It feels like control. It feels like manipulation. And you don't want it. It doesn't give you the image of love that you've crafted in your mind from all the movies and television and songs that you've heard. Because what they're talking about is not love. It is a fantasy that does not exist. It's carnal inspired and desire driven. And the only person who desires it fulfilled is the woman's. The man's desire does not get fulfilled. It puts the man in a perpetual state of servitude to the woman, which causes the woman to reign over him, which will not allow the man to rule in the place of Elohim as he's supposed to in his household, that Yahuwah is esteemed, and it keeps everybody in the sin. Keeps you in a carnal, lustful position. It keeps families broken up. Like it's by design, it's not by accident. You took psychology. Didn't they teach you this? Because I took psychology for a little while, and they taught all of this. Not in the exact words that I just put, but the manipulation and control and selling packages to people to manipulate them to desire things that cannot actually be attained. The number one way to control people is to tap into their desires. So to understand their desires, you have to study your marketplace. That's why they do market research. That's why they use certain colors in commercials for kids with sugary cereals and all that other type of stuff. That's why they play the what you call them things, the jingles that they play. Why they so catchy, so it's sticking in a child's mind. They are trying to manipulate your carnal mind to desire things that will pull you away from your Elohim. Whether that's intentional or not to get you away from Elohim, that is the underlying root cause of everything that they do. Everything that they do is to cause you to desire a world and a life that does not exist. That's why the book say the love of the world is the lust of the eyes and the lust of the flesh and the pride of life. And it's not congruent with the love of the Father. Those two things don't go together. You know what I'm saying? I just have to use naturally. Like, it's not something like just, oh, screw women or this, that, and the third. But as I've said this many, many times before, if you want to destroy a man, you have to do it through a woman. Satan is not going to come at a man head on. He's going to use a woman to do it. Because women are they're much easier manipulated because y'all are emotional creatures. So you're more given to dealing with emotions and desires versus logic and spirit. So it's easier to manipulate you. You know what I'm saying? And then you come to the man, and the man, that's why he told you not to mess with strange women. Because what did it say about Solomon? He wanted to please his wives. So most men will do things that they ought not to do to make this woman happy. And that is detrimental, not only to the man and the woman, but to all the generations of children that man and woman will produce. That's why our communities are in the state that they in. That's why it's like that. And then y'all done had so much freedom. See, women have never had the amount of freedom like you have now. And when I say women, not just natural women, people, period. House of Yasharal has never had the freedom to roam the earth and do what you want to do like you have now. But with much, much freedom comes great responsibility. And when you don't know how to handle that freedom will destroy. How many of y'all felt like y'all parents gave you certain privileges that you weren't ready for as you were coming of age? Huh? What'd you say? I'm talking about you had certain restrictions of things you couldn't do, and they began to ease those restrictions. How did you feel like you handled the easing of those restrictions when you had more freedom to move or do things that you were not accustomed to doing? Did you handle it well? Did you run amok? Did you take gross advantage over the ability to do things, and in the end, it caused you some type of harm because you did not know how to handle the freedom of which you were bestowed? That's the point of giving somebody who doesn't know how to handle freedom. Because that freedom will destroy you. Because you're not going to know what to do with it and how to handle it. The text tells you that you free of Mashiach. You know what I'm saying? And wherever the Ruach of Mashiach is, there's freedom. There's liberty.
Hey, don't even.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said that earlier, that women need rules. Kids need rules. Men need guidance. See, they get the rules, but they need to have guidance to know how to be a ruler to enforce said rules. Women don't like rules because you don't want to feel restricted. You want to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That is what this world has told you as forth as being in America. You can serve any God you want, right? You can abort your baby. You can be with a man. You can do whatever you want. There's no restrictions on your behavior here as long as you are not, quote unquote, harming another person through physical violence or taking of property. You can do whatever you want. And when you look at the landscape of the people in this land, you see that you need rules. You need a culture to govern your conduct. Or you would not only destroy yourself, you would destroy every generation of offspring that comes after you. And men have to stand up and enforce rules and be like, no, this is not what you're going to do. And if you don't like it, you can go out here in the wilderness and you can fend for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Period, point blank. You can go out here and fend for yourself. Because if you under my rule, this is what it's going to be. We're going to enforce this code of conduct. This is how we live. I don't care what these Gentiles out here talking about. I've been telling, I'm gonna end it with this here, man. There is a war for your soul. And they fighting hard. And I keep telling you, everything that comes through that TV, everything that comes through your phone, everything that comes through the airways is a manipulation for the destruction of your soul. To cause you to desire a world that is not of Elohim and that is detrimental to your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Now, you ain't got to believe it, but when you lift your eyes up in hell, that's when you're going to know. And even before you lift your eyes up in hell, when you go through the mental and emotional turmoil and wrangling that comes from dedicating yourself to a world that is strictly about the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life.
Thank you.
That's strictly what this world is about. It's not about anything other than that. But hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We'll close it off right now. I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Who are willing, we'll pick it up on Wednesday and make it do what it do. Until that time, it's good. Jay Quellen. Aaron.